3, 2, 1. And we're officially live. ESP episode 016, I believe.
Wait, really?
No, 017. Sorry.
Wait, really?
Yeah, 01. So 016 was, I had a guest that was not able to make it, and the capabilities in the studio are a little limited, and he wanted to set up a Skype and all kinds of other, yeah.
Oh
I was like, I don't know how to do
feel
that, so
bad.
you're going to have to show me how to.
Following up with how many of these you've done so far.
So what happened was my boyfriend came in and we just argued about Star Wars for 20 minutes, which worked. So yeah, so we are here at ESP017, Spooky Trans Stuff, the Spooky Trans Stuff edition. We're here with Bowsette and Tatsumaki the Terrible Tornado. I couldn't find green lipstick, so I'm going to get some after, so I'm just kind of going with the pale
You should have
face,
told me. I could have gotten you
pale
some.
appearance.
I
Oh, do you have
some.
green lipstick?
Well,
I'm just
not
gonna go
like
to CVS
practical
after.
green lipstick, but like I have like show lipstick.
What is show lipstick?
You know, just stuff that you would use for exactly like cosplaying and things
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
All right.
I don't know if that's what it's actually called. That's what I call it.
Show lipstick. Okay.
Show
No,
lipstick.
I have a big
Show stick.
box full of like 100 different unused lipsticks and lip paints, but unfortunately, there is no green.
Oh no.
I
So
don't
sad.
know why. Green's the one color. I have like 20 different green eyeshadow palettes,
Well, like
but no green lipstick.
eyeshadow I can understand because there's that time in like the 80s was like the revival of brightly fun colored eyeshadows, and then it's starting to come back again now, so that I can see. But like green lipstick is very unique.
My toes actually match my hair and my eyeshadow.
Oh, coordination.
Coordinated. Yes, definitely.
I was gonna paint my nails, but that
I
would
have to do
require me
that.
to have nails.
I
which,
have to do
you know.
that. So, spooky stuff. We're going to start with a political update, because that's always spooky scary, especially with what's going on now in the current political climate. Do you want to do a recap of everything else that's been happening, or do you want to just jump right into...
Well, I guess it depends on like the last time you had me on. It's definitely been
been
a
a
few
while.
months, and a lot has happened in the past few months.
Can we go through all of it?
Oh, that might be hard, but I can definitely try.
Okay.
So,
Let's start with Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh. Oh God, you mean like all of it in like the really broad sense, not just like Massachusetts specific stuff. Oh
Yeah. Let's
so
start
for anyone
on
who
a
hasn't,
national scale.
for anyone who doesn't have television, radio, media, newspaper, or any other way of interacting with other humans, Brett Kavanaugh is now on the Supreme Court. That's a thing that happened. It's been a few weeks.
So
How long has it been? What is my perception of time anymore?
I know. I have a terrible perception of time, as you know. My perception of time is basically that it doesn't exist.
No, it's. You remember Final
I'm on
Fantasy VIII with
Eryn
time
time.
compression? Like I live in time compression, where everything that has happened and everything that will happen is happening like simultaneously.
Now we're getting into the Warlords of Draenor.
I like how like
debacle.
we're just really jumping into like the other stuff already.
There's a Warcraft reference for you. When Chris Metzen first announced Warlords of Draenor, I went back and I watched the video because I missed the release video. And it was really funny because, are you familiar with Warcraft at all?
Vaguely.
Vaguely,
I mean, if
okay.
you say Draenor, I think of RuneScape.
Okay.
Shame me. Feel free to.
So, no, RuneScape is fine. I never played it, but I heard good things about it.
Well,
What is RuneScape?
Well, it was a free to play RPG,
Oh, okay.
and
I do
it
like
was
RPGs.
it was a source.
There were a lot of
much,
memes made out of RuneScape.
Yeah, it was a source of much like
A lot of it was...
memery and humor and all that, because it was easy to make fun of for the first like 8 years of its existence, and then it got a complete.
It was like, don't hate because I play RuneScape or something
Well,
like
it got
that.
like a complete graphical reworking, and now I don't know. Personally, I would compare the graphics of modern day RuneScape to like I don't know, like Warcraft in 2007 or something,
Oh, okay.
2008. I mean, it's definitely really good for a free to play, and it's
Free to play.
yeah, because you don't need to pay. I mean, it gives you access to like the first 5 or 6 cities, and then a slew of quests. And if you want to pay to play, you can. That just unlocks like the other 90% of the game. But like things I never thought I'd be talking about at 27. RuneScape.
Well, I never actually had the pleasure or displeasure of actually playing it, so...
Oh, well, aren't you lucky?
Well, so when Warlords of Draenor was first announced for World of Warcraft, the lead writer, Chris Metzen, one of the voice actors, came up, and he was like, okay, so we're going to go back in time, but Garrosh from this world is going back to activate another alternative universe, and no, wait. He actually said, no, wait. And had to correct himself on stage in front of like 1,000 people.
That's great.
It was like, no, wait, we're going on this timeline to Draenor, which used to now Outlands, and it's just, and everybody was like,
What's happening?
Yeah, so it was basically like an alternate timeline, but they were trying to make it make sense with the lore really hard, and it was just not happening. So
Lore's subjective. I mean, there's so many good series and games and everything out there that has very loose lore. And
yeah,
I
well,
mean,
they were trying. Your
I
makeup looks
tend
great, by the
to
way.
be more friendly towards things like that. I mean, like The Legend of Zelda jumps out immediately as something that has like the most like
3 timelines.
scrambled
That's right.
lore ever.
I just played The Legend of Zelda, the Clue version.
I need to tell you something.
It was incredible, and I won.
We need to talk politics,
I was playing
but like
as Zelda, and I used all the clues,
I don't feel bad saying this.
and I won that game. And I was so into it. I was like starting to sweat.
I don't feel bad saying this at all now.
I was like taking notes on like what other people were
I've only played
doing.
the gold-plated NES cartridge version and stopped right after that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Never played Legend of Zelda except for the original NES version.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's like, really? And it's like, yeah, I just never got into it. Like, my interest.
So, I mean, I never finished. I mean, FFS.
Well.
I never finished the one that just came out.
Mm-hmm. That's fine though. Like,
But I played almost every other. Oh no, I missed Twilight Princess. Breath of the Wild.
I mean, I like look
I was having a senior moment. Yeah, so I started the first. Like I got through like the first 6 hours of Breath of the Wild, and then I just never finished it. But
well, I was gonna say like exactly like it's the kind of like I can exist and like watch it from a distance because I have a presence on most social media accounts, especially some social media accounts such as Tumblr, which exist like vicariously through images. So like,
you're with video games like I am to politics.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna fill you in on some of the gamer stuff.
I fill you in on
you're
politics.
Gonna fill me in on politics.
We find
this
a nice
good.
weird middle balance.
This
that
is good.
works for
I like
everyone.
that. All right, first high five of the show. Let's do it.
Wait, you've had 17 episodes and you've never high fived anyone?
No, first high five of this show.
Oh, okay. I was gonna be like, what is that?
Hopefully, many more to come. So yeah, so Breath of the Wild was really good. I spent like a whole hour making dishes, like different food dishes and potions. Because you can do like 100
cook.
Yeah, you can just do it. Well, it's not really cooking. You put a bunch of stuff in a pot and like a little jingle plays and it like you shake it all up and then it magically becomes like either a really good or a really disgusting dish.
I don't know why, but that makes me think of like Harvest Moon. Oh my god.
Sailor Mars.
Well, if she was Sailor Uranus, she wouldn't have come to that fate.
Listen, she's going to come back up and throw some fiery tarot cards at you. In a big wheeling circle of fire.
It's really hard to like pick things up in a petticoat.
You just bitch slapped that Sailor Mars right off the table.
Oh my god, I feel so
Poor
bad.
Mars.
Rest in peace.
Mars is my favorite.
Let's put her right here.
Right there? Okay.
Let's put her up there so she can.
My poor Sailor Mars.
Oh no, she can't even be up in here.
Oh yeah, you can show her to the Facebook.
Oh yeah, here Facebook. This is the Sailor Mars that I punted across the room because
I have
I'm
an
a barbarian.
unhealthy pop figure collection. I just want to address that now.
I never understood the appeal of pop figures, with the exception.
It's just knickknacks. It's like knickknacks for nerds.
Can we talk about? I don't know how you feel about musicals. I'm a huge
I love
fan of
musicals.
musicals. I recently came across these, but they did one for like every character from The Little Shop of Horrors, and I'm like, what is this?
Oh yeah, they do them for everything now.
Like, why is this?
They have all the Disney movies. They even have Nickelodeon. Oh, not Nickelodeon. Whatever the kids watch these days. Is Nickelodeon still a thing?
Yes, Nickelodeon is still a thing.
My kid watches Disney Junior and Dino Trucks on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, it's weird.
So-
Like Netflix has displaced a lot of what like
Yeah,
kids
no,
shows.
Nickelodeon is SpongeBob.
Allow me to just do a quick little thing. My apologies to the Transpeak Discord server. We have an audience tonight, other than you lovely people up there.
Oh, are we live on the Discord?
We are live on the Discord.
Okay, are they watching this?
They are watching this.
Oh, cool.
Well, assumingly, because I gave them a link to it in the event text chat, and assumingly they are watching it, and
There's nobody watching it right now.
Well, that's not true. Like, technically, all these people have access to that. They just may not be clicking into it at that very moment. We've also not really said anything of substance. Sorry. We've been talking about stuff that is good to us.
It's all going to loop around.
It usually does. Okay. I'm just saying, like, we haven't given anyone a chance to really, like, interject. But, like, no. So
That's
my
true.
apologies
Circle back
to them.
and unpack, y'all.
Just to explain what a Discord is. Discord, in my opinion, is like the spiritual successor to MIRC or IRC, Internet Relay Chat. And it is also, I guess you could say it also kind of nudged out Skype and TeamSpeak
Yeah, I
and
finally
PalSpeak and all
got into Discord. So on World of Warcraft, it used to be Ventrilo.
Yes, Ventrilo.
Yep. So now it's just all Discord, which is
I
awesome.
always used TeamSpeak and PalChat. But
did have
it's just
TeamSpeak
it's like
at
the
one
best
point.
things of all those kind of put into one place, in my opinion. And
Never
there is
PalChat though.
what's that?
Never PalChat.
Really?
Yeah, just TeamSpeak.
Oh,
So-
I found PalChat was interesting. It was like if TeamSpeak was for conspiracy theorists. Like, but no. So Discord is this really cool way for like gaming-based communities and non-gaming-based communities, really, just to kind of have like their own chat server that's pretty private.
Yeah.
And the Transpeak server in particular is one that used to have an affiliation with NCTE. I don't know if they still do.
Okay, what's
anymore.
NCTE?
Oh my goodness, the National Center for Trans Equality.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to fill me in on anything that has to do with. So that one I was not aware of, and I
I
apologize.
bet you if
to
I
all
like
of my
point,
fans.
if I like point to
NCTE.
if I point to like Mara Kesling, you'd be like, oh, that group, because
say their name again.
Mara Kesling.
Okay.
Are you familiar?
Trans woman.
Yes,
I'm not familiar with her either. So who
Goodness.
is Mara Kesling?
she's the I think she's the executive director of NCTE, not
Okay,
president.
you're gonna have to make me a list of all these trans resources.
Oh my goodness, I am going to have to learn you.
Please, thank you. Because
I will.
okay, so who is the other trans woman that we were talking about earlier that was currently running for Congress, right?
She was running for Congress in the primaries.
She was running for
She
Congress.
lost to oh god, I can't picture the woman's name right now. Troy Laren.
Tommy Laren.
Stop it. I knew you were going to do that. So her name is Alexandra Chandler. She was the first open trans woman to run for congressional office in Massachusetts. And she ran a very spirited campaign in what essentially started off as a 13-person race, which, for the record, is a total argument for ranked choice voting, but that's another conversation.
That seems like
for
a
another
lot.
time.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot,
yeah,
yeah. Like a 13-person race can happen pretty much anywhere. Technically, if you think about it, about 280 or so candidates run for president every 4 years. But you only hear about the dozen or so.
Who's the guy with the boot on his head?
Vermin Supreme.
Vermin Supreme, that's
Did you see? I was with Vermin a few weeks ago.
I saw. That's awesome.
He's such a jovial guy. He took a pie in the face.
I saw.
All right,
I
we
saw
were
the pie in the
bouncing
face.
all over topics
Well, no,
again.
this is great.
but,
This is a podcast. This is how. Have you
No,
seen
no,
Joe Rogan?
that's
This
my
is the
warning.
podcast
That's my
format.
warning to
Oh,
you
yeah.
that we are going further now because you
Oh,
brought
yeah,
up
further down
Vermin.
the rabbit hole.
So, Vermin Supreme, I recently
National
covered
toothbrushing laws.
mandatory toothbrushing laws, ponies for all,
Free pony platform.
free pony platform. But
I just forgot his name for a minute.
so I was covering the Libertarian Party State Convention's annual convention a few weeks ago for Independent Political Report, which I occasionally churn out articles for.
For what? Independent Political Report?
IPR.
Can you send me some links to that too? Because I don't.
I only have a couple on there.
So real quick sidebar, because this came up before. So are you more independent? Are you more of like an independent? Do you find yourself in the middle, or are you? Because I think being a trans woman that is a member of the GOP, the first thing somebody automatically assumes is that, and you brought this up a couple of weeks ago, the first thing that people assume is that you're an enemy of trans people. So, but that's not true, because I know that every day
I shouldn't
you
that.
fight. No, every day I know, because you're always
I'm
sending
just
me
so
links to
used to it now.
human
at this
rights
point.
campaigns, civil rights campaigns, transgender rights campaigns, all these different organizations. So you're out there every day fighting for trans equality. So would you say that your political leanings are more that your conservative leanings, I should say, are more fiscally conservative, like regarding economics and just big government, small government? And again, I don't know very much about politics, so lead me in the right direction here.
Well, I've always leaned, I guess you could say I lean right, fiscally speaking.
Okay, that was my thought, because
right.
I see you out there fighting the good fight for trans folks every day.
Oh, I identify as a
So
Massachusetts Republican.
You're
hands
definitely
down.
not socially conservative.
Oh, God. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. No.
Okay, so I think that's the most important thing for everyone. You can be conservative without being socially conservative and without being somebody that just hates other people that are different. I think Jordan is a perfect example. So I think even though we disagree on basically everything, aside from the human rights, we're both trans, we're out there every day, or as often as I can, Jordan more than me, fighting for equality, fighting for trans rights. But I think with your platform and platform, you're not running, right now. When's your re-election?
I'm actually up for re-election next spring.
So your political beliefs and your platform that you ran on before is more socially, what's the opposite?
What's the opposite of a social
So
conservative?
socially, yeah. What is there a term for the opposite of a social
Oh, just
conservative?
socially liberal.
Okay. Okay. That's easy.
I mean,
That's easy enough.
I feel most Americans honestly identify as some type of fiscally responsible, socially
Okay.
tolerant. Now,
Massachusetts is a unique beast, for sure.
It is. But with that said, a fair number of those people who are socially tolerant are also socially liberal, if not socially progressive, and a number of those people who are fiscally responsible, they have elements of themselves that are also more fiscally conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if I'm being honest about myself, I've always identified as a Massachusetts Republican.
Okay, so so tell everyone what a Massachusetts Republican is versus the Republicans in the rest of the country. Because again, Massachusetts is unique, and I did mention this in the article that did I link you the article from Into that I was in?
I don't think you
With Sarah McBride. Sarah McBride was
yes, I saw the
cover.
photo. I saw the picture.
All right. Well, no, there was an article. Thank you. There was an article that was written by Kate Sosin.
Oh, I must have missed
about that event from Into LA.
I'll have to check that out. I don't think I caught that. I'm sorry.
So the first bit was obviously about Sarah, and then towards the end, Kate interviewed me and my boyfriend, and we were talking about how Massachusetts. Most of the people I've talked to in Massachusetts, and it's between some of the people that I work with when I work on the ambulance, some of the firefighters, some of the people that I meet just at events that I go to, and also people that I meet at the job that I work at as a care coordinator in mental health. I think a lot of the average voters in Massachusetts tend to be very strongly independent.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that most of the people in the state pride themselves on not swaying too far one way or another into political dogma.
You see, Massachusetts has this reputation of being a blue state, and by that they mean presidentially blue. Now, if you actually look at the statewide demographics of Massachusetts, it's much more fragmented than that. And if it wasn't more fragmented than that, then this whole notion of having to fight for our basic civil rights wouldn't even be a topic of discussion. Because that's the case, though, this type of thing can play out in Massachusetts, and it does. And people don't often take that into consideration, they take that for granted. They think that in Massachusetts this is never going to happen, but that's not true. There definitely is an independent streak for a lot of Massachusetts voters, and to that degree we're not that far off from our neighbors up north in New Hampshire. Now, New Hampshire, that's a very real independent streak. They've been trending
live free or die, right?
They've been trending blue in a few ways on the presidential level, with the exception of this past election was extremely close for New Hampshire. I think it was like in the margins of like the tenths of a percentage. But no, so yeah, just because a state trends a certain way doesn't necessarily mean the state is representative of that ideology. Now, there's a lot of people in Massachusetts who are relatively independent, and that's especially true in our type of republicanism. Massachusetts republicanism is very historically unique, rather New England republicanism in whole, and you see it play out with a lot of our legislators. You see it play out with our governor. Charlie Baker is one of he is the
I do like Charlie Baker.
He is the most popular governor in the country. And when you have a red executive working with
he publicly, I just want to let everyone know too that if you're not from Massachusetts, Charlie Baker has publicly declared as an ally for almost every single oppressed minority in the country, right? Were there any groups that he specifically left out? Because I knew he came out and declared Massachusetts, or was that Marty Walsh, who declared Boston
that was Marty
a sanctuary?
Walsh.
Okay.
I will say that you aren't wrong about Charlie Baker being an ally to a number of marginalized people, though.
Okay.
Charlie Baker, granted, it took him a little while to come
Charlie Baker did come out in support of Yes on 3, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. And Marty Walsh.
And Marty Walsh.
They're both Republicans, right?
No, Marty Walsh is a Democrat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Marty Walsh was a Republican.
It's okay. This is why I'm here.
Well, I like you both, if you're listening.
Marty's a good guy. I don't think I've ever had the pleasure to meet Marty firsthand, though. I've met Governor Baker a number of times.
How was that?
Charlie's great. I feel weird using
most
their first
people
names.
from Massachusetts are very approachable, especially the political leaders. I hate using that word.
I most recently saw him in Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago.
Fancy.
I was down there for... Oh, you're fine. What?
I'm going to dust your shoulders off because you're so
important. I see.
You're such an important person.
Oh, God, please. I was down in D.C. a few weeks ago. It was for the Spirit of Lincoln Dinner, which is an annual event hosted by the Log Cabin Republicans, which are the nation's most active, formerly queer-friendly GOP group. There's also the American Unity Fund, but they work a little bit...
Formerly trans-friendly?
Or, I'm sorry, not formally. Oh, God. Not formally. I meant like formally,
Oh,
as
formally.
In a formal sense.
I'm sorry. I
sorry
thought you were
if that
saying
kind-
that they were no longer
No,
supportive,
no.
and I was like, wait a minute.
Like,
Okay.
they are a formal wing of a formal
Okay.
faction within the GOP, whereas American Unity Fund isn't so much. They more exist
You're
outside.
throwing all these new terms at me, girl. I can't keep
I
up.
will bring you
You want to talk about E3?
Yeah, I know, right? I actually know about E3, so I'm sure there are other acronyms that I don't know. But no, so
BlizzCon is this weekend too. If I have enough money,
what?
I'm going to get the virtual ticket, and I will be covering BlizzCon next Tuesday.
BlizzCon.
Yes.
Oh, BlizzCon. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
So I'm going to be every
Someone
year.
went
We're
to
going to
that
be
as a kid.
covering E3 and BlizzCon officially, and then another anime con is coming up, and I'm going to be my Bowsette will be complete for AAC, so I'll be attending AAC as Bowsette. So those are 3
Ooh,
events
let's see
that
your
we're going to
Bowsette.
cover live right off the rip. So
All right, let me try and bring all this back to square one. We have so many topics out there.
circle back and unpack.
So, LCR, Log Cabin Republicans,
Okay.
nation's like most aforementioned GOP queer group, based out of DC. They do an annual
that's
dinner.
cool.
They do an annual dinner.
Yeah.
I've worked with them for the past few years. My time working on that white paper for I helped co-author a white paper for the Department of Education for the purpose of
What is a white paper?
it's a research paper.
Okay.
It's like, think of it as like a dissertation.
So is that just what it's called in politics?
It's just called it's called the white paper in academia.
I've never heard that before.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
what was your background in?
History and communications?
And you've never heard of a white paper?
A white paper?
A white paper.
No, I heard of a thesis, a research paper. I did my colloquium, my senior thesis.
A loss.
Maybe a couple of people said white paper here and there, but I think generally it was just because it was
A white paper might be inherently different than, say, a dissertation per se. A dissertation is something I think it's more rooted in like collegiate level academia, whereas a post-grad type level of academia, whereas a white paper isn't necessarily tied to like an educational institution like
All
a
right, maybe
college.
that's- yeah.
It's just more of a research document for the sake of learning about a subject in deep detail.
What was your senior thesis topic while we're on the subject?
American identity and ballot access.
Oh, okay.
Like my
Do you want to read each other's senior theses?
that's so nerdy, and yes, I do.
Okay.
For
Mine
the
is about
record-
red phone boxes in England.
Excuse
Oh,
me.
sorry. Mine is about red phone
It's
boxes
a red phone box.
in Great Britain.
I don't know what that is.
The red telephone box?
I thought they're blue. Or am I
That's
thinking of
Doctor
Doctor Who?
Those are police
That's the
call
only one I
boxes.
know about.
That tied into come on. I guarantee you've seen a red phone box.
I don't see the color
A British
red.
phone box. Do you really? Was that a joke? or
Colorblind.
were
That
you
wasn't
serious?
a joke. I'm actually colorblind.
Are you really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
The things we learn on this show, really.
Wow. Yes. Okay. So that makes sense. So, what do you see instead of red?
All right. Someone sent me a video of this the other day about people like, do you just not see anything? Is it invisible? And it's like, no, it's not like someone spilled
I
like,
love it. That's awesome.
what's that stuff that, what's his name? Kanish Kapoor, the guy who made The Black is Black, that looks like someone just photoshopped out of existence something that you put on it.
Oh yeah.
It's not like that. It's not like someone photoshopped something out of my life and I just see a void. It's more, it's a blurring of the different hues,
Huh.
and it tends to err on the gray side for me. I have a clonal
Okay.
deficiency of red and green, which means I struggle to see red, I struggle to see green.
I'm sorry. And here I am with the bright green hair.
Well, I know that it's green,
Okay.
but like I struggle seeing many a different like hue and shade of green and hue and shade of red.
Okay.
And sometimes it just blends together and it looks a little like grayish brownish. It depends on the color.
Now I feel terrible for making fun of you for not seeing the red live button.
I need to be honest, like it's never actually like been a huge thing in my life. I just go to like my eye doctor every year or two and they give me, I think it's called the Ishihara test. Ishihara test? I think Ishihara test, I'm pretty sure. And that's essentially all the dots and they look at it and if you don't see this number or if you see this number, they go, well, you're colorblind. Bye. And that's it. So I've failed that test like since I was a child. So Like as far
Oh, I'm
as
sorry.
the medical community is concerned, oh, she's very colorblind. But like, I don't know, it doesn't bother me. And it's not like I don't see the red mailbox. I've just not heard of it. Or the red phone booth rather. I've just
Blowing
never.
my mind.
I mean, you know what? I probably have. It's not something I filed away in my brain.
Yeah, it's just one of those icons that's only really defined by the color. So if you're colorblind, it's not going to have a significance for it. It's something that's just appeared everywhere in pop
Okay.
culture, and it's become a cultural icon of Great Britain.
Okay.
And one of the ministries or different administrations tried to phase out the red phone boxes because they were old, and a lot of people thought they were unsightly, and a lot of different organizations stepped up to try and defend the red phone boxes. And what happened was that mostly independent buyers bought up all these red phone boxes in bulk to save them, and then redistributed them amongst the communities in Great Britain.
I'm very curious about that because the purpose of a red phone box is probably akin to the purpose of a public phone here in the States, right? Or is there more to it than that?
It was just, well,
Because we've pretty much gotten rid of those wholesale as a country at this
in
point.
Britain, Britain is a very private society, and there's been hundreds and hundreds of papers and books written on privacy in Great Britain throughout the years,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the centuries, and because it's been going on since the 18th century,
Mm-mm.
17th century, just like
onset.
maybe even before, just privacy in Great Britain for the average citizen. And the phone box was a place where the average businessman, individual, artisan, merchant could take a step back and take a break from daily life and have their conversation in private, because Britain is such a private society. So it was this sort of cultural expectation, and then it became a cultural icon because it was bright red, and then it started showing up in pop culture. And then the government said that, a couple of the different cabinets had said that they didn't like it, and it was an eyesore, and that Britain needed to progress into Thatcherism and needed to evolve. And then it just sort of, they were trying to phase it out, and then all these independent buyers were like, let's not do that.
It's an interesting subject to pursue.
No, it's not. It's super boring.
Well, I mean, I meant in the sense that it's a
telephone
unique
boxes,
subject
yeah.
for someone to pursue. But I'm sure someone can say the same about me. Like, why would she care about ballot access in all 54 jurisdictions now?
So
50 states plus DC plus Guam plus Puerto Rico plus Virgin Islands. Plus Northern Marianas Islands. Actually, so more than that. People don't think about those. That they have their own unique ballot access laws.
Either.
And they do make a difference in our presidential elections, but they can't vote for the president. They can only partake in the primary. That's
interesting.
They're American residents, but not American citizens, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Sort of. Oh. I was going to say something important, but I forgot. Oh, yeah. So that wasn't important. It was just stupid and funny. I think it's funny.
You're funny.
I don't know. I'm just going to talk.
We're all funny.
Since that's what we're here for. So can you imagine if both of us just showed up at a party and we're like, ballot access and red phone boxes? Who wants to have a go at these?
What are you saying? I don't already act like that now, though. Like, hey, you want to talk about some ballot access?
Oh, that's why we're friends. High five number 2.
Woo.
Boom. I wish we had a button like a dinger where we could ding the high fives. Like a high five counter.
All I can think of is...
I'll add in the special effects after.
All I can think of is shoe on head and her, like, wage gap button.
Wait, who and the wage gap button? The what?
Oh, no. You know what? This is too many subjects. We need to bring it in. I'm going to have to, like, learn you on another... You just have to invite me back. Just forever invite me back. I mean, honestly, I'm like a co-host at this point anyway.
You are basically the primary co-host.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about Kavanaugh, right? Is that what you were going to go back to?
We were talking about everything. And you know what? I'm going to try and do the best I can to summarize everything in a nice little montage.
All I want to know is Kavanaugh going to be a fully partisan, biased judge that is going to just pass everything that Trump wants him to pass, or is he actually going to be a judge?
Depends on the topic. I mean, as far as reeling in the administrative state goes, Kavanaugh has a pretty good record of reeling in the administrative state. But in other issues, particularly things that I think, putting the topic of queer issues aside, because that's obviously like the bull in the room or the white elephant in the room rather, that we're all gonna harp on. But look, taking that to the side for a moment and actually looking at how he would act to any other issue, he's a partisan in that he's obviously going to vote with the conservatives far more than Kennedy did. However, he's also going to...
'Cause I think a lot of people are scared. A lot of women are scared. All women.
I wish more people would be scared because Kavanaugh is also extremely weak on Fourth Amendment issues. And those are issues of privacy, and that impacts everyone. And one of the things that made me so frustrated about this debate...
Is it going to get worse than the Patriot Act?
What's that?
Is it going to get worse than the Patriot Act?
Well, that's what I don't want to have happen. And that's something that I feel like wasn't asked enough during the whole Kavanaugh confirmation debate. Because the main focus was on everything that was happening.
And women are scared. I think a lot of women, myself included, feel like this is going to be that the message that we sent to women in this country was that it doesn't matter what you say because straight white men are going to rule the country anyway. And that no matter what you do or what you say, they're going to win. And that's scary because I feel like that's the message that was sent to women everywhere. And I think it's time for women to step up and be like, stop, enough is enough. Like we need to stop letting things like this happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a really big thing. And in a way, I'm not happy of the outcome of how that conversation went, but I'm glad that it was had.
Yeah.
However, I'm just miffed that we couldn't have focused on these other issues that I think were very, very key to reaching other demographics who would have had more issues with Kavanaugh.
Now we are.
Well, it's too late now. He's already been confirmed. But like his Fourth Amendment issues were so weak, and that should worry everyone. I mean, this is going to be another person who, based on his past actions leading up to this point, would be completely okay with more unwarranted wiretapping, which is frightening considering everything else.
So I'm glad I mentioned the Patriot Act.
Yeah, it's actually more. That's in the ballpark more or less. I mean, he has based on things he has done in the past, he tend to look the other way when it came to wiretapping criminals. And, then there's the issue of what constitutes a criminal. And
so he's not going to be...
Another big thing that I feel like was also important in discussing, too, that definitely should have been known before people confirmed. I mean, I'm sure people did know who were fans of Kavanaugh, but they just, look the other way.
This is also terrifying.
Well, this is the terrifying Halloween episode.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let me try and bring it back in some more. Charlie Baker, super moderate Republican, came out yes on 3 a long time ago before it was even technically yes on 3, I believe. Actually, you know what? I spoke to Charlie Baker on BPR almost a year ago because, as you know, Transgender Day of Remembrance is soon upon us. It is the 20th anniversary of the unfortunate demise of Rita Hester. And I'm expecting really big things to happen out of that, especially considering our current political environment. But on that day last year, I called up the governor on Boston Public Radio for the Governor's Hour.
You linked this to me. I did hear this.
It was kind of a big thing that I didn't think was picked up on but with the exception of Freedom for All picked it up to some degree, but no one really made a thing about it. And Charlie told me on live public radio that, he was going to fight against efforts to scale back our public accommodations. Him and his administration would stand on our side and work with local communities and law enforcement and making sure that nothing like this happens. And that was a really big thing. And I'm just frustrated that it didn't get momentum until later on because that could have been a good boost for the moment.
But he has.
But yes,
stayed
my
true
point
to that.
is he once was very weak on trans issues, and he became stronger and stronger.
And
he was open to learning.
Have Jordan to thank for this.
Well, I'm not going to take any credit at all because
you can take a little bit of credit for that, for sure, girl.
Well, I like to believe that he came to that kind of realization on his own too, and I mean that's the kind of thing that I want to see more Republicans do.
You helped to create that spark in his mind, even if it was just a little tiny spark. It was on public radio, on a big show, and you got that spark going, and you actually made him think about that issue.
Well, I mean, a year before that, one of the reasons why I even got projected into Mass Poly Life was that I wrote that open letter during the times of #TransBillMass, where we were fighting to have our public accommodations.
Now we're fighting
through
to
the
keep
legislature.
them.
Yeah, we were. Well, this is a long continuation of a fight that started a decade ago. And it
Vote yes on 3. Yes on 3.
a decade
yes on
ago,
3,
we ended
yes on
up
3.
with 3/4 of the pie. We ended up with employment, credit, housing. We didn't get public accommodations. Fast forward a couple years later, the fight for public accommodations resumes. We finally get public accommodations after a slog through the legislature. And literally a month and some odd days after everything was signed into effect, you had people already gathering signatures to overturn the newly signed law. So it is
Why
definitely
is it so hard for people just to let other people live their lives?
fear-mongering. And there's always
But the people
polling
that
with me.
start the fear mongering.
Always polling with me. I don't know if you've seen any recent polls coming out of everything.
Jordan, show me the crosstabs, Evans.
Yes, thank you. Now it's Jordan Leopards ate my face, Evans. But still, please show me the crosstabs.
Yes.
So
You introduced that word to me, though. I talk about crosstabs all the time now.
good. Everyone should talk about crosstabs. Crosstabs are great.
And numbers, and actually, speaking of numbers, phone numbers. So on Discord and on other online gaming forums, specifically in this case World of Warcraft, going to these local events with Yes on 3, I went to a town hall in Attleboro with Mayor Hero. So another plug here for Mayor Hero. Sorry, he pronounces it. It's pronounced Mayor Hero. Heroux. OUX?
Yeah.
Yes. So Mayor Hero of Attleboro came out at this town hall and publicly declared his support of the Yes on 3 campaign and of our transgender friends and neighbors. So that was it was a very small town hall, but we filled the room in the library, and Attleboro is a pretty big city. So Bristol County is the 4 cities in Bristol County: Attleboro, Taunton, New Bedford, Fall River. So there's 4 major cities with pretty significant populations in them. And for the mayor of the city and one of our local counties to come out and publicly do a Yes on 3 event was pretty significant, I think.
Oh, it is.
For a city like that. Wasn't a town. And then there was the meeting in Needham at the Needham Congregational Church, which was the one that I went to with Sarah McBride. She was the keynote speaker. I was just there as an observer, but I did get to meet her, and she's fantastic.
Sarah is great. I love Sarah. She's so sweet, and she's also so effective as an activist.
She is. But my point was going to these meetings and talking to individuals like yourself who have inspired me to do more activism. And in the process, I found that the most effective way to... Nice. We're looking at the article. The most effective way to shut someone down on issues regarding trans rights is to link them phone numbers and articles. Phone numbers for resource centers.
Yeah, resource centers are extremely important, but you also have to be prepared to dole out some arguments of your own on the spot, because some people won't even give you the opportunity
I did.
to offer
The argument was first, and I went through the whole argument, and I've gotten really good at the argument. Really good. But then, you know the type, show me some proof.
Show me the data.
Yes. And then I'm ready. I've got all kinds of tabs ready just in case this happens. All right, so I can pull up all the links. I can pull up all the links to the resources that I've now been made aware of. Yeah. And after that, usually the response I get is, oh, I'll have to look at this. And then I say, you want some phone numbers for some resource centers too that are directly affiliated with the study that I just sent you? And usually at that point, they just stop talking. That's my strategy. It's worked well for me.
As long as it works.
The numbers don't lie, and the numbers are there.
Speaking of the numbers,
yes,
crosstabs. Recent poll coming out of our campaign shows that we have, I believe it's a 45-point lead. Now, that sounds amazing considering that it was more like a 15-point lead earlier this spring. And
we can't give up. We got to fight.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we may be 45 points up, but in reality, we're 10 points behind, and we need to keep running as such. And if you look at the crosstabs, and I tweet this out, and if anyone ever wants to follow me on Twitter, which I don't recommend, because why would you want to follow me on Twitter? Seriously.
I follow you on Twitter.
And it's terrible, right?
No, it's not terrible.
At Jordaruski, I will post crosstab analyses, usually whenever they pop up. But the most recent one I looked into is among everybody, we were up, I believe, 69-22 or 24, something amazing like that.
I got a Yes on 3 bumper sticker. I try to talk to everybody that I interact with on a daily basis.
Keep talking, because if you phrase it like we are focusing on public accommodations, it's 69-24, let's say. If you phrase it so you're only talking about locker rooms and bathrooms, that drops to like 52-35. And that's where the opposition is going to strike us, and strike us hard in the last week, because people don't want to be on the side of discrimination. No one wants to discriminate. They just sometimes don't realize that what they're advocating for or what they believe in is, non-discrimination is in fact a little discriminatory.
Did you know that the Massachusetts chief of police organizations officially came out in support of Yes on 3 by stating that having transgender neighbors in our communities absolutely does not increase the rate of violence and or assault in public spaces, in restrooms and locker rooms. It has absolutely zero correlation whatsoever. And that was not only the Massachusetts Chief of Police Association, and this is what we found out at the town hall in Attleboro and at the Congregational Church meeting in Needham. This was brought up each time, but by the time that the Needham Church Forum happened, there were between 20 and 30 different organizations related to public safety and sexual assault support that had came out and said, in no way does this encourage predators, because predators are not opportunists. They're planners. They're groomers. They don't just... And a crime is still a crime. So just because the opposition thinks that a sexual predator is going to go into a restroom, and when they're approached, they're going to throw their hands up and say, "I'm trans," the police officers are not going... The community members that are in there trying to intervene, the citizens that are trying to intervene, the police officers in the courts are not going to say, "Oh, sorry, I guess we're all going to get sued now." And that's the whole argument for no on 3. That's not going to happen. A crime is still a crime, regardless of who you are. And if that ever happened, it would go before a judge or a magistrate, and they would immediately say, "You're not trans. You have no history of being trans. You're saying this just to say it because you may have heard it somewhere." It's going to be really obvious because they're not going to have any record of being trans at all. And a crime is still a crime. So just because theoretically a sexual predator might throw their hands, which they won't do anyway because they're not opportunists, and that's what the numbers show. There's not been a single instance of what the No on 3 campaign is fear-mongering with anywhere in the country.
Even if there's not an instance.
Sorry, that was my rant.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You should definitely have a lot to rant on. Even if there's not an instance, though, it's the concern that something like that could happen, which is why the crosstabs I brought up are so significant.
Yes, crosstabs.
Because there is that drop in support. Oh, you're fine. Because there is that drop in support once you put bathrooms and changing rooms into the situation. People don't want to discriminate against trans people as far as like stores and hospitals and dentist offices and everything else is concerned. But the topic of bathrooms is still a sore spot for a lot of people. And I'm expecting Keep Mass Safe which is the parent organization spearheading the No on 3 campaign. I'm expecting them to do a media blitz, kind of just reminding people that trans people also use bathrooms, and that's terrible of them, and that will result in some shaking of this high number of support, which is why I keep telling people do not take any chances. And since you ranted, I'm going to do my little rant too.
Do it up, girl.
Because
your turn.
Let me tell you, from here on out until next Tuesday, which is election day here in our great Commonwealth.
The sound effect for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Do.
Yes.
And did you like my?
I did like your. I did.
Gestures?
I did like your gesticulation.
Okay.
But
nice.
There are campaign events happening every single day leading up to election day. And
check your Facebooks, everyone. Check your Facebooks if you want to
just check your Facebooks. I'm going to do a plug right now.
All right, let's do it.
If you want to see public accommodations upheld for trans people, which includes yes on 3, but that includes everything: access to stores, hospitals, dentist offices, public parks, public libraries, everything else that you could possibly imagine that you access in your day-to-day life that you can't imagine ever being denied access to simply because of who you are, you can take a very, very direct approach to helping out by getting involved at our official website, which I'm moving
Ooh, okay.
the Facebook to at the moment, just so I can read it. Hello, Facebook. So www.freedommassachusetts.org/take-action/ or alternatively, same website /events/ it'll show you everything that's happening.
Okay, so freedommassachusetts.org.
freedommassachusetts.org. You can find it through there, but the events page shows everything that's happening up until election day. So get out the vote efforts, phone banking, volunteer recruitment phone banking, educational phone banking, and Take Action just shows you everything else that you can do, such as
Facebook is a good
donating
resource
and
too, but this
pledging
is
and joining the
amazing.
coalition. And lastly, if you cannot make it out, because there are, I believe, 5 or 6 major hubs that Freedom for All uses to run the campaign out of Massachusetts, you can phone bank from home at neat.org/MA, and that will allow you to sign up and get involved with phone banking from your house. So you don't even have to like come out now. You can just use your own phone from the comfort of your couch. And that is so important. I know canvassing may not be for everyone because, talking to people face to face can be a little bit weird sometimes, if not a little anxiety ridden, because you're always wondering if there's going to be that kind of confrontation. I can tell you from experience with canvassing that rarely ever happens. And when there is any little bit of confrontation, usually it's very tepid at most. It's more of an issue of disagreement. And then they go, I'm fine, bye. Whereas it's never as explosive as you might be wondering or worrying over. Alternatively, if you don't like doing that, there's always phone banking. Phone banking is super easy. In 2 hours of phone banking, I could probably get through about 70 people, depending on how they respond and, where those conversations go. So that's another thing you can definitely do. And the last thing...
The neat.org for phone banking.
I guess the neat.org, the NEAT stands for something. It's some kind of...
Neat.
Let's see. National Equality Action Team.
Oh, okay.
They do a lot for queer justice. So, but no, those are 2 things you could definitely do to help out. Or if you don't like doing that, I can tell you volunteers get hungry and maybe you can make a casserole or something.
Yes.
So people who are doing the canvassing
This was
can
the
have it to
casserole you
eat.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of our like major canvassers out in Worcester County, Naomi Wixon, was asking if we could either have some donations for food or maybe a casserole, because they eat pizza like all the time, and pizza, a fine engine does not always fuel. So maybe help them out in unorthodox ways like that as well. And the last thing you could always
do, casserole, some meat, some vegetables.
Or the last thing you could always do too is just throw some cash their way. Yeah. Campaigns need money. Yeah. I mean, volunteers are what win campaigns, but there are still so many other elements to running major campaigns that require funding. So there's many ways you can get involved, and I implore you, if the rights of trans people are important, or if you know someone who's trans, or if you have any reason to support the queer community and being a good ally, now is your moment to get involved. Now is your opportunity to really show it, because allies, we are relying on you to work with us on this. We are giving it all. We are giving it our all, and we just need your support.
Yep.
That's my pitch.
Yes. Thank you. Do whatever you can do. We have to keep the momentum. We have to keep the forward momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
Until election night and the day after.
You'll want to keep it going far after that, because I'm expecting any number of things to happen after this as well. I mean, we have only 24 states, if that have protections for trans people on the books. Once we're done here in Massachusetts, we really need to start focusing on our neighbors around us. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, the ultimate end game is something coming out of the national administration. But considering what we are seeing coming out of the administration currently, that's not plausible in current year. That's something that might be a different factor down the road, depending on what happens. But until then, we have to work for it on a state level.
So what about the national issue with Trump now, with the
memo?
The memo. That was a cabinet memo, correct?
Well, the memo would impact a cabinet level agency. And essentially breaking down the memo, what it would do is it.
This is the one that I think most of my trans followers and friends
Right.
are concerned about because it's a national memorandum.
My understanding of the current situation is that different agencies within the Trump administration have differing definitions of what constitutes gender and sex at the moment. And they're trying to line them up to make them consistent in that they all
Why would you have two different scientific biological terms if they mean the exact same thing?
Administrations
Doesn't make any sense.
Administrations aren't. Think of an administration as a hydra. Sometimes it has multiple heads. There obviously is the major head,
But they
which
added
is POTUS.
at the end, it was rooted in science.
Well, that's just one agency that they're trying to get all the other agencies to fall in line with that same definition. And in doing that, that actually gives legal. So it's not binding. It's not like an act of Congress. It's not like something that's been effectively signed into law through traditional congressional ways, traveling through our Congress and then going in front of POTUS. It's not like that. So there's not anything binding to this. With that said, that doesn't make it any less serious or any less scary, because if you remember the case of Gavin Grimm versus, I believe, the Gloucester County School Board.
Is that the one that got delayed indefinitely?
Yes, and it was delayed indefinitely, or I call it was punted back down to the lower courts.
Elizabeth actually filled me in on Gavin Grimm.
Ah. Well, then you know a little bit about that, which is good,
yes.
because in the reason why it was punted back down to the lower courts is because barring any kind of guidance, even though a guidance is not binding law. Now I'm going back to the guidance that I did my brief work with the DOE back in 2017 regarding.
That's right.
That guy, the
when you met
trans
Betsy
student
DeVos,
guidance.
right?
I never met Betsy.
Oh, I thought you meant Betsy DeVos.
No, I did other stuff, obviously. My big thing
Not that
was,
it's any thrill to meet Betsy DeVos, but
my big thing was the research aspect of putting the white paper together.
Okay.
As you know, I'm a nerd. That's what I do. So,
yes. Should be
without a guidance in place, the Supreme Court decided to just punt it. So, granted, guidances aren't legally binding, but they do have a role. They do offer some kind of clarity, some kind of primer. For lack of a better word, they offer guidance.
Yeah.
Case law does
still supports basically any and all trans issues, right?
Well, that's the thing. Without the highest court of
Almost
the
all of
land,
them?
without the highest court in the land ruling one way or the other, you have a lot of other higher courts, not the highest court, but you have a lot of higher courts with like differing legal definitions of what these things mean. So everyone has their own definition of what it means. There is no reciprocity throughout the country. And depending on where you are, depends on exactly how it's going to go. Now, this is what makes it interesting, because in doing this, I mean, technically, someone in the 11th Court of Appeals, they found in Glenn v. Brumby that...
In what now?
Glenn v. Brumby.
Okay.
That was the case of Vandy Beth Glenn, who was fired for being trans by her employer at the State House. I forget his first name, something Brumby. But he fired her because his arguing was that she did not satisfy his expectations of what a woman should be. Essentially, legally speaking, he fired her because she was trans. But the way that case ended was that the courts found, and this is what's very interesting, and I love Glenn v. Brumby, and I cite it all the time. Glenn v. Brumby found, I know it's not your favorite thing, Glenn v. Brumby found that you can't fire someone for being trans simply because they don't satisfy your personal perspectives of what makes a woman or what makes a man, in the case of, say, a trans man. That's not satisfactory under the Equal Protections Clause. So stuff like that is also going to come into play if this happens, because you definitely believe it's going to go into the courts if this memo gets any momentum. Which, I mean, considering this blowback, I don't know if it's going to get momentum. I mean, I think, and I warned about this.
We have to keep fighting. That's all.
I warned about this before when I spoke to courts for a piece they did after LCR's Spirit of Lincoln dinner, and that is, this administration is so fond of dog whistles. They're so fond of saying things and doing things that they know, legally speaking, is not going to have much in the way of traction. And I kind of feel this way about the administration's decision to try and put an end to birthright citizenship through executive order. I don't think they have a legal standing for that, and I think if they try, they're going to be DOA. But there's still merit in them doing it because they're going to rally the base, get support, get some funding from people who love to hear that kind of thing, or who look for some kind of validation from the administration when they say that. So that's why, like, dog whistling is very much a thing, and it's something that we need to also be completely aware of.
It's all fear. All of this stuff goes back to fear mongering.
Yeah.
All of it. Racism, sexism, gender discrimination.
I mean, you shouldn't.
LGBT discrimination. It all goes back to fear. And it's so sad that people can't just let other people live their lives. It's sad.
I mean, you shouldn't not take it seriously. That's not what I'm saying at all, because you should definitely take it seriously. But you should also completely be aware that...
I was just talking socially, in a broader social context.
I'm just saying, just be aware in the larger sense that they may be doing this with the full expectation that they're not going to have any chance of winning and no chance in hell. But they still get benefit out of doing this because they are throwing out that red meat.
Yeah.
So... But no, so there are a lot of things that'll be impacted by this case. Glenn v. Brumby will be one bit of case law that I definitely expect to be resurface as a result.
I think everything you just said kind of puts my mind at ease a little bit, saying,
I'm glad.
It's called a dog whistle, right?
Dog whistle.
Yeah. Which is
based on
Can you explain a dog whistle real quick?
Well, a dog whistle in a physical sense is a high-pitched whistle that only a dog can hear.
Right, yes.
It's a similar idea when it's applied to politics.
Okay.
A political dog whistle would be an action, a gesture, a way of explaining something.
Like the memo?
You could use the memo. I like to think the memo is a bit of a dog whistle that we should be rightfully calling out. I think a more popular dog whistle that a lot of people on the internet are more likely to realize is like the OK sign.
Ugh.
Which, when people give the OK sign, it's like, are you some kind of nationalist? Are you
It means that they've got over 100 Pepe the Frog memes on there.
Exactly. But we recognize when we see like OK signs and Pepes and little milk emojis, that was the thing that told you, all right, this person is clearly very into racially based identity politics in a nationalist sense. That's dog whistling. That's like something that they understand between each other, but other people who have no idea of the jargon or lingo at all, it goes right over their head.
There's a great Doom Guy meme with Doom Guy choking out Pepe the Frog.
Oh, jeez.
You know the Doom Guy meme where he's standing on the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Doom Guy.
Yeah, he's choking Pepe the Frog. Because that frog is clearly a racist fascist. Let's be honest.
The artist feels so terrible this happened to his creation, for the record. He's like, this is never what Pepe was meant for.
Yeah. Pepe wasn't supposed to be your racist uncle.
Feels good.
Someone's
good, man.
racist uncle.
Feels good.
Ugh.
Wow, how long
So
have we been
awful.
doing this?
A while. So, okay, spooky stuff.
Spooky stuff.
Favorite scary anime?
Oh,
Go. Or favorite spooky anime?
Is King of the Hill an anime?
I hate you. Just kidding. I love you.
Actually, I was thinking about that on the way up. Is there any like quintessential Halloween anime? Are there?
Yep.
Tell me some.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just King of the Hilling you.
Oh. Yep. I see what you're doing.
Whoa.
Yeah, you like that? Deep. I used to do voice work, I have a really broad range. Of course, I can do some low King of the Hill stuff.
So, all right.
Dad.
Oh my God. Propane.
Propane.
And propane accessories.
Propane and propane related accessories.
Related accessories, yes. So,
propane accessories.
So for me, the first thing that comes to mind for a spooky anime, something that I would watch around Halloween time, would be Black Butler.
Oh, Black Butler.
Yes. I love Black Butler. I still haven't finished the last 3 episodes of the last season.
I never really got into Black Butler.
It's really good.
Oh, you know what? One thing that I think would
Shitsuji desu
definitely would watch around the Halloween season would be anything Hellsing.
That's twice I said that now on this podcast. Getting super weeby.
Oh.
Hellsing, yes.
Well, all right.
Vampire girl.
There's 2 kinds of Hellsing.
Right, it's a vampire girl, right?
Police girl. Police girl. There's 2 kinds of Hellsing. There is the Hellsing based off of the original manga.
I only have the manga. I have the manga.
Well, I think that's...
I haven't read it in years, though.
That's Hellsing. They have Hellsing Unlimited, which is like the first 2 issues of the manga.
So is Hellsing your choice?
Hellsing's my choice. But I'm just saying there is another one that I always tell people to stay away from. It starts off like the manga for like the first 2 books, but then like it goes off into this completely different series that's like loosely based on the original Hellsing, but it has all the characters and I hate it. Don't do that one. Or rather, Hellsing Unlimited might be the good one.
Favorite spooky game?
Well, I mean, we dedicated an entire podcast last time to Parasite Eve, which, granted, isn't really a
Yes.
spooky
Yeah.
game, but it has like good elements of spooky game. Um,
I was gonna say Diablo. Diablo 1,
Diablo's
2,
good.
and 3 for me. I used to play it every year around Halloween time. That was my game. That was my Halloween game.
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, that
I mean,
too.
like Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh my
Well,
God.
everything I basically talked about last time. Doki Doki Literature Club, Parasite Eve, Resident Evil 4 remains.
You
like
really
one of my
left her
favorite.
hanging this morning.
No, it's so bad.
Trigger
It's
warning.
Too soon after like 2 years.
Trigger warning. Yes.
Yeah, right. Trigger
Sorry.
warning. Depression.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. No, and that was actually a direct quote from one of the characters in the game.
Yeah,
That's
it's so bad.
I'm not just being a total.
That game should be coming out soon, by the
BITCH.
way.
Oh,
I think like the
yes.
game that is allegedly that those characters are originally from.
Favorite Halloween movie?
Favorite Halloween movie?
Yes.
Oh, that's so...
Two. Give me two or three. Two or three.
That's so hard. Like, I can't even think about it at the moment. I'm thinking about ones that I've recently been like mad about. Apparently there was like some kind of like controversy coming out of Hocus Pocus. Yeah.
Controversy, because I was gonna say obviously Hocus Pocus.
Right. I gotta like
Hocus
look that
Pocus.
up.
The Headless Horseman movie with Johnny Depp. Was it called Hallows Eve?
Hallows Eve? I don't know.
Hallows something. There was this really amazing movie with Johnny Depp as the Headless Horseman. Or I think he was just, oh God, whatever the guy's name is. It was the story of the Headless Horseman, and it was Johnny Depp. Are you looking at Hocus Pocus?
Well, I'm trying to figure out. I think
Those are my top two spooky movies.
let's see if I can find this. Hello again, Facebook. Let's see.
We have 3 minutes left.
Do we?
Yes.
Oh goodness.
Hocus
I
Pocus
just something
controversy.
happened with Hocus Pocus because people were so like upset about it, and I don't know, something turfy. I have no idea. I loved Hocus Pocus honestly, growing up, but let me think. There's Hocus Pocus.
Fellowship of the Ring is very fall-y. It's very fall because there's all the colors in Rivendell.
I mean, I love B-list horror films.
Oh,
I mean, those B-rated movies, inject the lifeblood right into my veins. Granted, there are a number of terrible ones, but that what makes them so good. And then there's some that know they're terrible, but they try to, they run with it, like Night of the Living Bread. It's like it's a parody of Night of the Living Dead put out by the same people, where instead
You ready
of
for a
zombies,
mic drop?
it's bread. Yeah.
Troll 2.
I don't know if that's like a cult classic.
Troll 2.
Oh no, they're eating her. Ah. A+ acting.
Yes.
Ugh. You should take the team of Troll 2 and then take like Tommy Wiseau and then take like what's another good bad movie?
I was not.
Just put them all together. What's another good bad movie?
Oh, hey, Mark.
Oh, hey, Mark.
I love that meme with Mark Hamill. Or that.
I'm really upset
Tommy
that I can't
Wiseau
think
and
of
Mark
like,
Hamill.
I'm really upset that I can't think of
Oops, showing some
other,
leg.
other things at the moment. Yeah, it's not like the camera's gonna see. All I can think of is the game factor more. I mean, like Resident Evil 4 was like to me the best horror game ever. I have a feeling I'm gonna get torn apart for that statement. I mean, maybe not the best horror game ever, but like
you can talk about Resident Evil 4. That was
love
fine.
Resident Evil 4.
I enjoyed it. Your right hand comes off. Wah, wah, wah. On that note, on Resident Evil 4 jokes.
I like how he did 80 minutes of politics and like 2 minutes of like anime.
Yeah, no. Well, we did our favorite spookies at the end.
Right? This whole podcast is terrifying. Ooh, aren't you scared now?
Favorite spooky person? Dennis Rodman.
What? What is that game that Dennis Rodman was in? He was a playable character.
Oh, I don't know, but there's Shaq
It's a fighting
Fu.
game.
Shaq has a game. Shaq
Really?
Fu, Return of the Legend. Yeah.
Shaq Fu, Return of the Shaq. I was
Something.
expecting you to say that for some reason or another. Favorite scary person?
Mick Jagger.
Jaggers. Oh.
Yeah, look, he's so spooky.
He's
It's like gangly.
oh my god, this is terrible. I can't believe
Johnny Depp's my number one favorite spooky person.
Really?
Yeah, probably. I'm so basic sometimes. I have to pick Johnny Depp.
You would like my
Because
brother.
he was in
though.
that movie. Yeah.
He looks exactly like Johnny Depp, or rather, he used to.
Yeah. So,
Weird
everything else
choice.
you want to add? I think we covered a lot.
Oh, I have a response
Thank you
to
for
the
coming back.
to the casserole question. If you could be them so nice, they would like any kind of casserole with vegetables.
Okay.
That is the big.
Perfect.
That is the big
Vegetable
call.
casserole.
Yep, vegetable casserole.
So ESP 017, I think. 017. Let's go with that. Do you want to add any final thoughts? Yes on 3?
Well, I definitely did my plug
Happy
for yes
Halloween?
on 3. Oh yeah, well definitely happy Halloween.
Final high five?
I feel like you're just giving me these thoughts as I go. All the above.
This is what this is like. That's like the format for the host.
We
I
just
kind of
like,
keep
regurgitate
pinging
words.
things off you.
Thoughts.
Yes.
That's my final my final thought.
Okay.
Just thoughts.
Well, everyone have a safe and happy Halloween. Don't eat too much candy. You don't want to break your teeth. Watch out for needles and apples.
Right, they'll put razor blades in the apples.
Oh wow, our generation.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Why would they put razor blades in the apples?
So I don't know. So yes on 3. Please be safe, especially if you have kids on Halloween. Please be safe. You should still sort the candy, even though it's 2018. If you are going trick or treating, sort the candy. Go through it. If you're a parent, be safe. Yes on 3. Cosplay is not consent. Halloween costumes are not consent either.
Okay,
if you're at a party, a sexy costume is not consent. Okay, don't be that person.
Definitely don't be that person. Also, shout out to all of my friends at the Transpeak Discord server. If you are trans and you are in need of resources and someone to talk to and just a community to get involved with online, I recommend Transpeak. You can find them through Transpeak. They have a Tumblr. They have a Twitter that will direct you to the server and get involved, make some friends. Great place to kind of carve out your own little safe niche on the internet. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Thank you, my lovely unicorns. Have a safe, happy Halloween. Yes on 3. Cosplay is not consent. Sexy costumes are not consent. Go check out Jordan Evans on all of her social media. And be sure to hit that like.